This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded October 21st, 2013. Episode 168. Vacation, Videography, Vorboten.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
And it's just us again.
It's just us. We're lonely.
Yeah.
So lonely.
But somebody complained that, there was a week that I wasn't here and we need to get us two back together and do a show. I can't remember who it was. I think it was on Twitter somewhere. Yeah.
Well, you going on vacation.
I went on vacation, dude.
I don't rest, man. I'm just...
Right. Yep. You're a 24-hour
steadily working
machine.
my way towards a psychotic breakdown. Then I'll take a break. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yep. After your head's exploded.
Yeah. Either that or I'll hop on a plane to Australia and I'll show up at your door,
right.
I don't know. Wearing an American flag and cowboy boots or something stereotypical.
with a quick draw 6-shooter.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Big Texan hat.
No one knows how I got through security, but I did.
Right. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
it's just us again, without a clue. Yes, and yes, I went on holiday. I went to out to Dubbo.
Dubbo. What's that? What did
Sorry,
I just say?
That accent just didn't sound right.
No, it wasn't right.
No.
Dubbo.
Mine was like, Dubbo. Going to Dubbo.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like that. Ever.
Right, okay. Well,
just like you don't want to sound like someone from Ohio, Like, yeah.
Right, okay. Oh, boy. Anyway, yeah, it was 2 days driving for a 3-day holiday,
Oof. Man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of driving.
Yeah, it's a fair bit, especially when you've got a 2-year-old,
Yeah.
You can't sort of drive as efficiently as you do.
I know some people who are like all so into car trips, and man, I just never got into it. I've done it
I don't mind them because you stop every 2 hours in a little town and you have a snack and a wander around and then, stretch and you get back. I kind of like road trips.
I don't. See, that's the thing. I never stop and smell the roses there. I always just try and get there as fast as I can.
Right.
And also we have to talk about scale here, right? I mean, I've driven from Ohio to Denver, Colorado before, and that's like, 20-some hours in a car, so...
Oh, okay, right, that's serious, yeah.
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 And I've also driven, obviously, Texas up to Cleveland when I moved, so...
Right.
That's another big one, another 20-some hours, so... Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, but you're from the land of the aeroplane, right? You guys fly everywhere. Or did we talk about this before, and, road trips are coming back?
They're coming back, yeah, I think so.
What, are people sick of the TSA getting a touchy-feely in there?
Well, I think just prices are going up, too. I mean, you look at
are they?
airplane
okay.
Yeah, well, it's seasonal, but in general, I mean,
right.
I'm a pretty big cheapskate. I don't know about you, but I don't particularly. Some people are like, oh, yeah, I don't mind paying $500 to fly somewhere. And it's like, okay, well, enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be on Google Hangouts talking to people there, I guess, or something. Okay. I don't know.
Nerd.
But yeah. Yeah, well, it's just priorities, right? That's what it comes down to.
Anyway, I ended up at the Parkes Radio Telescope, which is
I saw that.
Freaking
that was
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. Always wanted to go there. Never been there.
And so that was the one. That's the one they're building. They're building more of those out in the square kilometer array eventually.
No. This has nothing to do with the square kilometer array. That's the Murchison Radio Telescope that they're building out in Western Australia. That's a hell of a drive.
Yeah. Right, all the way across the outback. That'd be fun.
Exactly.
That's flying. That's fly time. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's like 6 hours flight time. It's like from the east coast to the west coast of the US.
Yeah, so, right. That's huge.
It's serious. Anyway, that's the Murchison Radio Telescope, which was going to be the square kilometre array until South Africa
scooped it up.
Stole it. Yep.
Yeah.
Although we're still doing, like a small scale thing out there. But no, this is the Parkes Radio Telescope that famously received the images from the Apollo moon landing. Well, it did after, the actual first steps or something came from Honeysuckle Creek or somewhere else, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, whatever.
Yeah. There is actual dispute over, who got it.
Who got it first.
Yeah, exactly. Who actually received the, one small step for man signal.
Right. Well, it's good having backup sources there too, right? You don't want to just...
yeah, exactly.
Well,
Did you know that it was actually one small step for a man? Not one small step for man?
So he's talking about himself?
Neil Armstrong said one small step for a man.
That's... Well, geez, man. That changes everything.
I know. It's ruined everything, right? It's just destroyed everyone's,
No, not really. It's fine.
Vision of how remarkable that comment was, But yeah, that's what he meant to say, and that's what he did say, but apparently the transmission cut out the A.
Well, thank goodness for interference.
Yeah. That's right. Because it turned it into a much better...
That's a funny idea, actually, thinking about other, other famous speeches that got messed up because of static or interference or something. I have a cream puff.
What?
Instead of I have a dream, I have a cream puff. Right.
Right.
Let's see what else.
Well, the famous
Mr.
first
Gorbachev,
telephone conversation.
Tear down this wall poster. I don't know.
Right. Tear down this bagel or something. I don't know.
It's always those audio engineers, you gotta watch those guys. They're tricky.
Houston, we have a lem.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No, the lem, it's right over there.
Yeah, it's over there.
The lunar escape module, it's right over there.
Oh boy. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so that was fun. Although, because it was holiday and not work. Yeah. I wasn't allowed to work, wasn't allowed to take the blogging camera. It was I wasn't, able to tee up a technical tour or anything like that. So if I want to do that, I got to go back on my own accord.
Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, it's good for you though. I mean, you got to get away sometimes. You got to take a break and
yep.
It's tough, getting away and taking time off even when you're self-employed like you are. It's tough to get time away and kind of stay away for that. I've never done one of those disconnect weeks where people go to remote locations and leave their phones at home.
Yep.
I should try that.
It's
sometime,
good.
Though. Yeah,
it's not bad. Although I did get in trouble on the last day when I dared to pick up my phone and surf the forum and answer emails,
Busted.
Yep, got busted big time.
Yeah.
Yep, cop some verbal abuse for that one.
Next time you know. Next time you know.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Anyway, that was awesome. Just wanted to say that. I love that sort of thing.
Cool, man. Well,
yeah, because I'm a big space buff. So
yeah, well, now you should go back and get a tour. That'd be, the tour we actually get to go.
Well, I have been invited to the Canberra Deep Space Network for a technical tour. So yeah, which is actually closer than where I went here to Park. Ah. So yeah, I'll have to go back. Yeah, because we talked about that when the
when you went
Mars
to that party
was
you went to that party and you found out about everything in 12 hours after we did.
Yeah, exactly.
It was so dumb.
Bastards. I'm still angry over that.
I know, you should be.
I do hold a grudge.
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, boy. Well, I'm glad you can laugh at it.
Oh, yeah, I totally can. I had to, schedule a guest without you and, just like last week. And,
I blew it off totally. Too.
I don't know. I'm enjoying this. Sometimes it's good to not have to worry about taking turns asking questions. I get to just ask all my own. Yep. It's like ordering your own pizza. You don't have to worry. Oh, what kind of toppings do you want?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you just get what you want.
Yeah,
that's it. Anyway, we've just blown 10 minutes on just waffle.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So let's get on to it.
Nothing different there.
I've been repairing a DSA.
Yeah, so now I asked you before, I actually did not know what a DSA was.
That's all right, because it's a specialised bit of instrument. A lot of people will not know what a DSA is.
So what is it, and how would one use it?
It's a dynamic signal analyzer, also known as an FFT analyzer, and it's specifically designed for low-frequency signal measurement, DC to 100 kilohertz, usually. So I guess you consider it a network analyzer if people have used network analyzers. Kind of, not too dissimilar, I guess. You can get phase and magnitude plots, but, DSAs are specifically designed for acoustical noise and vibration measurement. So you'll get specific analysis tools like coherence and cross spectrum and, all sorts of fun, jazzy stuff, which you probably never even learned about.
Yeah,
either, unless you're actually in the field.
Right, exactly.
So,
Yeah, I've used network analyzers before for doing like op-amp control loop kind of stuff.
Right.
But really, shockingly, actually, the low end of those usually aren't that great. I mean, the low end frequency response.
Yeah, no, you were talking
because it spans a wider range,
kilohertz or something. Yeah, they're usually more for the megahertz range, right?
Yeah. Usually I was doing anywhere. You can start at 10 hertz or so, but it doesn't do too much for you. So maybe kilohertz up to 10 megahertz kind of thing. Usual op-amp range, that kind of thing. Unless you're doing video op-amps, of course. But
right. No, and a DSA is like, as I showed in the previous video I've done on the DSA, where I did a quick repair of, the one that I've actually got working here, the previous one, and things like measuring the 1-on-F noise of the op-amp. That's what a DSA is good for, because it measures from DC up, so... Yeah.
Right, true DC up. That's the key thing there, is getting that low frequency stuff.
Yeah.
Getting
Exactly.
those elbows.
Yes, technically, yeah. So that's what they're good for. And, they're very niche. But the industry I come from, the seismic measurement industry, like everyone had one of these on their desk, right? It was as useful as the general purpose oscilloscope and meter.
Yeah, exactly.
They were just, that often used. But outside of those sort of industries, nobody's ever heard of it.
Right. Yeah. Well, and we were talking about other ones before the show, like the ones that I like are like source measure units or source meter units.
Shmoo. God, I hate that name.
I don't say with the SCH.
Right.
Shmoo is something you eat, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Smoo. Is that what you're saying?
Smoo, I say smoo, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that's that's like Agilent just came out with one as well, and Keithley had one.
Oh, did they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the B2900.
Oh, right. I didn't know that. Just what? As in this week or what?
No. It was probably about a year ago or so.
Oh. Dude, come on.
That's a short time in this industry.
Right.
How often do new DSAs come out?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're well, that's the thing, right? They're so uncommon.
Yeah.
That
right.
Like, Agilent
the calibrators, right?
Yeah.
How often does a fluke calibrator come out?
Exactly. Well, they have just come out with a new one, haven't they?
Did they?
But
I thought
but it took them 20 years.
Yeah, I kw some of the guys that were working on that. They were nice guys.
Yeah, it's a new touchscreen. It's a new calibrator with touchscreen, and everyone groaned and just did a face palm.
Right? Yeah, just give me GPIB. Boo.
Yeah. Well, it's just like Keithley just came out with the new touchscreen Smoo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
What a wank.
Oh yeah, I guess we never did talk about that when that came out. I know a bunch of people that were working on that. That was
right.
I helped on that a little bit before I left, but not much.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, Smoos are they're crazy useful, like in semiconductor testing, right? You think about doing like IV curves and that kind of thing.
Oh, for sure. There's nothing that replaces it, right?
Right.
Same
but then you
thing
look
with
at
the DSA. If you
exactly.
Measuring
right.
low frequency noise, there's nothing.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing to replace these instruments.
The one thing I did work on before I left Keithley was the high current Smoo that they put out. It does like I think it's like
high current,
50 amps at like
that's pretty high.
Couple, like 200 volts or something like that. I don't remember, but it has like special modes.
Huge
and
power.
Like yeah, that was cool. And then there's a high voltage one that does 3 kilovolts. It's like for testing FETs for cars. That kind of thing,
of course.
So
yeah,
it's cool stuff, but very very niche. So
and they sell what a few hundred of them.
Yeah.
Each model. That's kind of
Yep. Just like, and I guess that's why the old Agilent boys are spinning off their test and measurement division.
Right.
We won't go into that again.
We still haven't got the name, have we?
No, we don't.
But as soon as we do know the name, folks, you'll here ranting about it first here on the Amp Hour.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. We might even do an Agilent special episode. What do you think?
No.
The day Agilent.
We
Come
did
on,
that.
we could rant for an hour on the new Agilent
I know
name,
we
I'm
could.
sure.
We don't need to.
Right. I'll see if I can find out beforehand.
Yeah, there you go. Get that press release ready. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the employees will find out the exact time as, after management make their decision. I'm sure it'll be, really tight-lipped. Management will come out of a big meeting and, pass the stone tablets down, and here's the new name. Right. And
Yeah.
take it up the arse.
I know, like a lot of these.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of big companies that do that now too. Like, I get like sometimes, not often, but like press releases with like embargoes and that kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
Like I know that there's like the school of thought for like a lot of press stuff where it's like, oh, you need to have it synchronized and stuff like that. And they want to give writers the time to write about it before it's actually out, right? That's why news articles show up on sites as soon as they all show up at the exact same time.
Yeah. If people aren't aware, us media folk, we get pre-release announcements and stuff within what's called an embargo date. If you release the info before this date, we'll sue you and never give you anything again.
Yeah, more of the second than the first.
Well, yeah, exactly. we'll just shut you out of the market. You never get shit from us again.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's like these big companies, and they're like, oh, well, there's a chip that needs to be embargoed. And it's like, not really. No.
No, it doesn't. No, I'm sorry.
I know you don't want your competitors to know about it, but we don't really, until it, like as you say, right? It's until it's in the DigiKey catalog, no one gives a crap.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's right.
Yeah.
Boy. So
Speaking
we
of-
want to know. We want to know. Do our listeners have any work in any specialised industries where you've got, a niche bit of kit that nobody else knows about?
Yeah, that'd be. I bet the RF guys are. They've got tons of crap like that.
Probably. Yeah, the EMC guys maybe, and I don't know.
Oh yeah,
really,
definitely.
Those sort of black magic type industries. Right. I can remember my first day at my job in the seismic industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they came in. I was a contractor at the time. I came in and they said, right, you're going out to our site to repair this charge amplifier's failed. And I went, what's a charge amplifier? And they went, you'll find out. And off I went. I've got to fix this issue with it. Yeah, charge amplifier.
Did you go by yourself? Did you go by yourself? Though?
Yeah. Yep.
Oof. Wow.
Yep. And this is pre the internet, folks. So it's not like you can just look up what a charge amplifier. I knew it was an amplifier that amplifies charge. I had some vague idea of, but I had to sort of like troubleshoot this issue with this, charge amplifier in a system and stuff. And it's like, well, you learn pretty quick. So, So does anyone have any other similar stories? And, of course, then I learned what a DSA was, and I went, hey, that's pretty useful.
I'll take one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would be interesting to hear about, because I'm sure that can be illuminating into, like, other parts of the work as well, because, if you know that there's a, machine that, or a piece of test gear that outputs, gigahertz signals and needs to figure out amplitude or something like that, it's like, okay, well, that kind of tells you the main testing you'll be doing in that industry too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, like in the cellular, like cellular phones, you find them on eBay, right? You get these magnificent looking GSM mobile phone test sets. Agilent make them, and all sorts of other WaveTech and Like, if you've ever stumbled across these on eBay, it's like, it looks like $1 million bit of equipment.
VNAs and that kind of thing?
Yep. And they're specific for, it's got like a huge spectrum analyzer built in from, blah to blah. And, it's useless because it's only designed for testing mobile phones or something,
right, exactly.
And and Agilent make these, and they probably sell, 50 of them or 100 of them or something,
Well, if it's cell towers, probably more than that, but...
but
that's big money, man. So, like...
Oh, these things cost, huge amounts, and then they sell them for like $200 on eBay or something. Because they're useless. Nobody wants them because you can't use them as a general purpose instrument.
Well, I get that kind of just as like the auxiliary, being near Pittsburgh, there's a whole bunch of like network gear people that work in Pittsburgh. And so what I get basically is when you have people coming through town, like trying to, sell you parts and stuff like that, you'll have like an FPGA vendor come through town and be like, oh, so we got this new FPGA. It's like got all these crazy ass features and it's only like, $2,500 per, right? And you want this, right? I'm like, what? Huh? Like, oh, well, people in Pittsburgh want it. You must want it, right? I'm like, no, I want like $25 or less, and that's crazy for someone else, right? You go out to California with consumer. It's just like, it's so regional too. Like, what's the one? It's not Binghamton. There's some place in New York, or no, it's Pennsylvania rather. That's like the connector capital of the world or something like that.
Who knew?
What the hell is it? It's where like Phoenix and Samtec and all the a lot of the big vendors are. But the thing is, you see these ecosystems pop up, right? Because you'll have one person who works at a company and then they leave and then they go start their own thing, right? And then someone leaves from there and they start their own thing, and there becomes this centralization. Like Detroit's the same thing for autos, right? And Cleveland's like that for industrial, and it's just like you have these specializations, and it's like, well, you could try and start a consumer company in Cleveland, but why would you do that when you could go out to the Bay Area and find so many more people that are already doing that kind of thing, and you'll be much more efficient.
Yep.
So it's tough when people come in and they don't know the area. But
why do I have a picture of like the old fashioned, traveling, bandwagon kind of, they roll into town with their wagon and they open it up and everyone rushes to it. Here comes the medicine man, It's a local town. And
come on up, folks, and buy your op amps here. We got all your latest and greatest.
Oh boy, no, sorry.
That's all right. Yeah. That's sales sucks. I know we probably have some salespeople in our audience, but like it's a tough industry. Like you got to travel so much. Even just like regional salespeople, I feel bad for. They're like, oh yeah, I spent, or like former guests like Alan Wolke, right? Yeah. He rolled through town and I grabbed a beer with him once, and I'm like, Alan, what the hell are you doing in Cleveland? You live in Jersey. He's like, well, it's just 8 hours. I'm like, what? What? God.
Man. Yeah. That takes years of planning for someone like me,
yeah. But yeah, I mean, they're field apps guys and salespeople. They're all they're used to it.
Yep.
And I remember Alan said he had so much gear in his truck that he was just like, I'm not flying this stuff. So, yeah.
Oh goodness.
Hope he doesn't get mad at me for telling how much saying he had a lot of gear in his truck.
Anyway, back onto DSAs. There's a reason why they don't make them anymore. They still do, but because there's nothing in them, right? It's all software, pretty much. Like there's like some op amp, there's some preamp, there's a preamp front end
stuff,
but then it goes into an analog to digital converter, and that's it. It's not high speed. It's not, it's some of them are quite high performance in terms of noise floor and stuff like that. You have to take all that stuff very seriously, but so they've been replaced by boxes that hook onto your USB port now, because basically, there's no point designing this huge instrument with front panel and processor and everything else just to, when really your PC can do.
So you're saying it's like a headless unit now, right?
That's right. It's like a headless unit. Well, it's like a USB scope. Right?
So you like plug it into like a tablet or something like that, make the front panel replaceable.
You do it on a PC because you want all the, you want to funnel the data directly into MATLAB.
I know.
Yeah,
right.
You and your stupid tablet idea. No.
I'm really right about that. You're gonna see it eventually, but yeah, I'm totally right.
Somebody just released a tablet oscilloscope.
Really?
Yeah,
like Osceola?
I'll have to link that in. It's this brand you've never heard of. They popped out of nowhere, and they've got like this 1 gigahertz analog bandwidth tablet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They contacted me and wanted to know if I wanted to review one.
Is it like giga sample though, and then like the bandwidth is actually?
No, it's a couple of gig samples per second with a gigahertz bandwidth or something.
Gigahertz bandwidth, that's impressive.
I know. It's like, and they say, we're a new company. It's like, well, where the hell did you just pull the 1 gigahertz bandwidth out of your ass? What did you...
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Anyway, I have to find it and link it in. And it is like a tablet thing. You know, I don't know if it actually uses a tablet stuck on top or I don't know. I haven't looked into the details, but yeah, it certainly looks like a tablet anyway with the B and C's on the side. You know, it's just like one big touch interface and yep. Anyway,
well, that's kind of crazy, but yeah, I think that that stuff's going to keep happening as it gets easier and easier to kind of roll in. You know, like Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, that kind of thing. It's it's. Why wouldn't you?
Just because it hasn't got real knobs.
Knobs.
You knob?
Knob.
Come on. Everyone likes real knobs.
Maybe, but you know, you're gonna have it's gonna be the same thing where you're gonna have people that grow up without it, and you'll be like, all right, well, eventually they're gonna just be like, well, I don't care about that anymore. I care about performance or cost or something else. So.
No, but usability is still a big thing, and there is something to be said for grabbing a knob and turning it. It's incredibly intuitive.
Yeah, I suppose.
And inherently satisfying. I could just turn knobs all day. Seriously.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, I've been repairing my DSA.
Yeah. Well, I was going to get
to... video. You haven't seen it, right? But
no, I haven't.
I'm going to probably after this. I'm going to jump back into it and repair it again. But the power supply failed, and it took out. It just didn't work, and took out the minus 12 volt regulator that powered the oscillator. So it was completely dead. It didn't even start up. Didn't even do anything. And I traced it down to the oscillator. And my next step is, I suspect if one regulator's been taken out, well. What's the obvious conclusion?
Maybe another one
More have been taken out on other boards. So I reckon, Anyway, I got it to the point where it boots up and, but it's giving me all sorts of, error messages and stuff like that. So I reckon, I'm betting good money that there's more regulators dead in there.
Well, that's an easy fix if that's it, but usually it does take out something else too.
Regulators don't do a bad job at actually protecting the circuitry that's behind there. So, this thing's got like plus minus 18 volt rails, which then get regulated down to plus minus 15 volts for the op amps and all the other, for the analog circuitry. And, 8 volts gets regulated down to 5 for the digital and all that sort of jazz. So, so these regulators are, they're fantastic because, they do offer at least a level of a modicum of protection
so it
for the
confuses.
circuitry. yeah, exactly. And, and it's great. And if that's the only problem, that's what I'm hoping, is that, but will Murphy get me? Will I go and repair 20 regulators and then find, oh, no,
See, now that alone is crazy, too, that there are 20 regulators on board these days, or back in those days, right? I mean, like...
Well, even today, even more so, right? Have you ever tried to power an FPGA?
Yeah, I know.
With
those
your
rails
6
are getting
different regulators?
crazy. Yeah, but, I mean, like... I think just moving away from bipolar in general, like having single-sided rails is a pretty big jump, right? That cuts everything in half.
Yeah. Well, this is a modular unit, so they've got like separate boards for everything. So each board has to have its own local regulation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they've got a main board which feeds in the raw power, and then they regulate it down where they need to at the point of interest. Especially with analog stuff, especially with precision analog, of course. You'd know all about that, Sometimes, it's so critical on that for the performance of that op amp, you've got to dedicate your own linear regulator directly to the low noise linear regulator, not just a jelly bean one,
that's right,
but a low noise linear reg, specifically just to power that op amp.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I've been looking through those things for contextual electronics, obviously, and I had never looked at the power supply rejection on a LM317 before, but obviously it's low frequency stuff. But even still, low frequency stuff's like 80 dB. Like that's pretty significant in my book. I mean, like
it is. But once you go up in frequency, it becomes like it's like a straight wire straight through. It's like a
I know, but it's
Plus
still
all the high frequency crap. Yeah,
it's better than I thought it was. I always figured that it was kind of an
good
average of 40 or something like that. So
yeah. No, they're quite reasonable, but if you're doing serious analog work, you've got to look into stuff like that, and you've got to take it into account, and you've got to take into account the bandwidth you're working over. You can't just get the single figure at the top of the data sheet.
No,
you know?
no.
No.
If you're doing analog, you got to look at charts, man.
Yeah.
And infer things.
And if they don't have a chart for that particular regulator for that aspect, well, that one you don't even consider. You know?
Yeah, or you take your time and you go bug them for a chart and
no, right. Yeah, right.
hang your head and tuck your tail and walk away when they say no.
I see. I wouldn't even bother unless I was absolutely destitute and I had no other option. But no, I just look around until I find one because there are specific linear regulators that are designed for these low noise applications, and then you get half the data sheet filled with bloody, charts of their noise performance and stuff, and their ejection ratio and all that sort of jazz.
Yeah.
Over voltage range for variable ones, and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, tricky business.
It is a tricky business. I've been looking at a new business. Not
not again.
For me, but just a new project, really.
Right.
You ever played with, like, induction motors, like AC induction motors?
No, not really. I'm not into the big power motory kind of feel.
So, yeah, well, that's what I always kind of, like, put them in that, okay, it's huge, it's moving stuff around, it's using just straight up 60 hertz.
Yep.
Who cares, right? But I started looking into it more for this project I'm working on, and I started looking into, like...
Is this a work project or a home project?
It is a home project, but I'm not talking about what it is yet. But basically, it's for variable frequency drives. You ever, like, look at that kind of stuff?
No,
like,
once again, that's power industrial, I'm not a power guy, I'm an electronics guy, low level.
So that's what my point was. So I posted a block diagram online. It's it's from TI, but it's posted on some other weird site from India. But like, what I didn't realize is that, like, because I've been benefiting, and probably everyone's been benefiting from, like, the dropping cost of instrumentation and just measurement, that kind of thing. And the thing that I didn't realize, though, is that, of course, everybody else wants to put that into their products, too. And so what you have is, like, these significantly more complex systems with, like, all of the stuff I enjoy, like measurement and, like, sensor monitoring, that kind of stuff, outputting voltages and PWM type of stuff. And then, and it's also, moving, a couple horsepower motor, and it's, moving the world around. I'm like, wow, this is like friggin' cool.
You only just discovered the joy of motors.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what amazes me. That is, I'm like, wow, I ignored this field for as long as I've been working in electronics, and I keep finding new things. That's a good sign, right? I don't know.
Yep.
Are you still finding new things?
But is this electronics? It's not really. It's electrical. That word I don't like being associated with. See, I hate being called an electrical engineer. I'm not. I know jack shit about electrical. I'm an electronics engineer.
This does touch on some weird stuff, right? I mean, because it does get into, like, three-phase and, significant voltages
there's no
and currents.
Electronics involved.
No,
they can be if you're talking about driving and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the interface now. This is, like, the new thing. I mean,
if you're talking about the drivers for them, yes, that's different. But now we've got, but if you're just talking about the motors themselves that are just working off the mains and they're using three-phase and they're, or the rotors and all the rest of it, right? That's electrical, right?
Right. Well, yeah, and that's what I think it intrigues me about it is, like, this is the interface between the two, because there's all this instrumentation and feedback and all these control systems then too, that then kind of allow you to control the electrical side of things, right? Where you're actually modifying off the mains and
you're modifying the mains going to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. You're getting sneaky bastard now. Right. I like it how the operation and the modeling of all these electrical motors and everything else comes back to electronics principles. It comes back, so they'll draw them as resistors and inductors with, complex numbers and phase, and all that sort of jazz. So,
well, that's the other thing that's interesting about it. So, I've been learning more about, these induction motors and stuff like that. And the way that they model it, the simplified model, is basically like having three transformers, and basically you're sweeping something past a transformer, and it's just coupling magnetic energy into the transformer as it goes past it. And so basically, you're just like having this spinning transformer, at least as far as I understand it so far. Yeah. But it's and the other thing is like I didn't realize where this stuff is actually happening, right? So industrial stuff, this has been going for years and years and years, and a lot of times
Hundreds
they are just
of years,
powering.
dude.
Yeah, yeah, right. Since Tesla's time, right? But more modern is the Tesla's time, right? Different Tesla, but it's the AC induction motors are used for like regenerative braking and stuff like that. And so you'll actually output power like that, and then you'll also capture power using these motors and all this crazy ass VFDs, variable frequency drives, and all this instrumentation. So I'm very, very excited about it. And then I start dreaming about robots, and I'm going to be Iron Man. And yada, yada,
Okay.
I'll stop there. But yeah,
Anyway,
instrumentation. It's cool.
Disclaimer, folks, we know jack all about motors.
Yeah.
So
let's start
I'm
talking
sure,
about camshafts and drive shafts.
Yeah, exactly. Don't bother correcting us because we know we're probably wrong.
Oh, God. Flashbacks of terrible knowledge. But I'm going to be
every
learning,
time
hopefully. But the other thing I wanted to say about that was I think this is kind of the new normal, right? I mean, I've been thinking about, I enjoy instrumentation type stuff, and obviously test and measurement stuff we talk about a lot as well. But it's just getting so easy to do some of that stuff. I look at like these analog front end chips that I use, and and basically the consolidation of analog that I talk about and that kind of thing. And basically what it means is, if I'm not going to do firmware and just go accept signals from the outside world, I need to also be doing something else with those signals and actually integrating them into larger systems. And that's honestly what a lot of these chip vendors allow, right? Having AFEs and having these fancy systems that allow, motor control in this case, right? Mm-hmm. But that's kind of just the new normal, is that you have to move to the next level of abstraction. And that's, I think, what interests me about this kind of thing. I could move up into software, but software, whatever.
Then we'll shoot you.
Yeah, exactly. I have to talk to a bunch of software people next week. Did you see that post I put up?
I wanted to ask about that. What's the story? Where are you giving a talk, and why are you giving it? And
so it's at my alma mater, which is in town at Case Western Reserve. And so someone who's in charge of this conference for ACM, which is some IEEE section, I think, like I forget what it is. Computing machines or something like that.
They're always giving talks, the IEEE, or they're always organising them or something.
Yeah. And so this is and so I was like
local chapter or something, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not doing anything super fancy here, but I wanted to help out my alma mater, and I don't get invited to speak very often, so hey, I'll take any chance I can get. And free lunch,
Right.
That doesn't hurt.
He's cheap, folks. He works cheap.
He's so cheap.
Packet of peanuts also does the trick.
Yeah. But it'll be a bunch of software people I've figured out. Like, I looked at all the other speakers, and that's kind of different. So I don't know if I'm going to be like...
Holy crap, they've invited me to a software conference.
So first off, I hope someone shows up. But, it's going to be an interesting experience of talking to... I know a lot of our listeners are software people, so I don't want to, say that I never talk to software people, and same with contextual electronics, but, it's interesting. So I was trying to think, so this talk I'm doing is about open source tools, and I was trying to think of all the different open source tools that I use regularly.
Hardware.
For hardware.
Hardware you're talking about.
Well, yeah, not just hardware though, too. I mean, I included the amp bar, right? We have a ton, almost all of our tools that we're using are open source, right? Mumble's open source, which is how you and I are talking right now.
Yep.
Audacity, how we're recording locally.
Yep.
WordPress is how we do our site. That's open source.
Mm-hmm.
And then our web stack, like LAMP, Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, those are all open source. And then I think about video stuff. Handbrake, which you told me about, is an encoder.
Yep.
And then Cam Studio is how I capture video on my screen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like everything I use on my computer these. Oh, GIMP is another one I didn't even put on there. I need to put that on there.
The Levelator's not.
You sure about that? It might be.
Oh, is it? I thought there was some black magic in there they didn't want to give away.
Maybe not, yeah. But, okay, so that's one. But still, that's a pretty significant amount of other things.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, moving into hardware too, right? So Spice, that's a big one. Spice is open source. I don't think LT Spice, on top of it, is open source, but the actual engine. KiCad, my new favorite, is open source. Octave, which is a MATLAB clone.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Have you ever used that before?
No. See, I'm not into that sort of stuff. Haven't been for a long time.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely not as feature rich, but it's if you're in a pinch, it's good for doing like matrix math. And then Python I listed, even though I really
matrix math.
yeah, right.
Yeah, doodlers love it. I just crave.
You'd do it if you did AC induction motors, apparently.
Right.
A lot of scary looking formulas there. Python was another one. Obviously, that's not hardware, but that's a new feature that's built into KiCad is scripting. They're rolling out scripting for KiCad.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's some stuff. I couldn't think. I was trying to think of other like design tools. Do you know of any others? I don't.
Oh, offhand, no. You're putting me in a corner.
Let's see. And then there's then the IP side of things, right? Obviously, open source hardware is a big one. Open cores, which I don't really use. I have used in the past, but I don't use anymore. And then just more generally, like dev kits. They're not listed as open source, but they almost always give you their Gerbers and their schematics and stuff like that.
Well, the full schematics in there, and you could always redo it, and there's no restrictions really. It's just a
right. They just want you to design their products.
They don't license it under anything. It's just like here it is.
Yeah.
Didn't somebody talk about that recently on Twitter or something about like what's the rules of redistributing app notes? It's they're just like considered open source, really. Like here, have it.
It's like of course, right? It's just it's like published.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we've been doing forever.
Right. Yeah, they're just like we don't need a name for it, that kind of thing. So
we don't need to license our data sheet under some license. It's just here it is. Do with it what you want. You reproduce it any way you want and make a fortune out of our app circuit we've got in there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because if you make a fortune, they're going to make some portion of a fortune.
Exactly, because they're going to sell you the chip. Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Yeah, and so I mean, and moving forward, someone suggested a bus pirate, right? That's a good tool,
right?
And I'm there's other tools that have been popping up in the woodwork. The one that I'm designing for contextual electronics is going to be open source. There's
the Open SMU that you were into at one stage.
Oh, Ian's the Nonolith Labs thing?
Yes.
I'm not sure. Is that open source? I think it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, okay. I think I took him to task because he used the license wrong or something.
Yeah, I remember a lot of...
He used the non-commercial clause in the license, I think, and then he went, oh,
yeah, I remember a lot of unnecessary bickering on that particular episode. But I'm sure there's other ones out there, too. I mean, I'm sure eventually we're going to see an open source, DMM and an open source oscilloscope and stuff like that because...
No.
I'm not saying from like Tektronix or something like that, but I'm saying just someone's going to put one out there because just like with the AFE's getting better, that kind of thing, right?
No, look, this has been discussed ad nauseum on the forum.
I know, I've seen the DMM thread, yeah.
Yeah, and and there's been similar ones for open, source oscilloscope, and it's just pointless for an everyday use tool. That there's just so many options on the market of brilliant tools at low cost. It's just pointless essentially having an open source version of one. It's just
I don't think it's gonna be like someone's gonna be like, I'm going out and doing this, right? It's not gonna be like, let's start a committee for this. It's gonna be like, hey, I designed this thing. It's pretty low cost. And it's open. That's just how I think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, but nobody's just going to suddenly pop out with a usable oscilloscope from nowhere. It's just not going to happen.
I'm trying to find...
And it's not going to happen for a multimeter because they're not going to bother.
Oh, man.
Although maybe I underestimate the...
I got it already. The red pitaya. Remember that thing? We talked about that. I was thinking about it, and I'm like,
I remember the name.
It's in the title of their Kickstarter. The red pitaya, open instruments for everyone.
Oh, right. Yeah. There you go.
ha. Yeah.
And who's using it?
Well, no one yet. The Kickstarter's not ready.
Ah, right. Well,
yeah. But I guess, that could be a selling point for it. Obviously, Michael Osman's Hack RF, right? That's another one.
Right.
So,
I'm writing these down. Whatever you call it. I think it's fairly limited.
The Red Pitaya?
In terms of its front end stuff, it tries to be all things to all people, and it ends up being a master of none. It tries to be an oscilloscope, it tries to be a data logger, it tries to be a multimeter, it tries to be this and that, and it just ends up sort of,
Yeah, but it's open source, Dave. Who cares? I mean,
right, okay.
I win the argument. I win.
Okay,
I win the argument. It's over.
Right.
I mean, the thing that limits there is that it's based on even that stuff's open, though. I mean, like FPGA stuff. So, yeah, I win. Sorry, buddy. But that's great. I mean, like we had Michael on. He's a great example. So I'm gonna have to. I completely forgot about that. Yeah.
What were we talking about before we get sidetracked?
Sidetracked with open source?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we got sidetracked there somewhere.
Let's see. AC
I think
motors.
you were trying to make a point, or we're trying to get to a point somewhere, and we...
No, I don't do that.
I think we missed it. I got an inkling that we missed it. Totally.
Yeah.
Where the highest paid engineers worked.
No.
Do we care?
No.
No, we don't.
See, that's the problem. So,
this is not about money, folks.
This is ton of stuff. Well, there's tons of stuff on our list, right? And it's like...
Yeah, there is.
By the end of the week, it's like neither of us have read it, and I feel bad.
I know.
I would say, so if I was going to say, maybe we should do this. We should talk about things that we would talk about if they were on the list. Because some of this stuff's interesting. Obviously, we talk about, maybe people don't want to hear about it, but we talk about Kickstarter, right? Kickstarter's often a topic. If it's hardware, sometimes Dave likes to bring up magnificent failures and
right.
facepalm kind of moments. But we like dev boards, and we like, new parts, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We like recurring stories, so when we see stories about people who've been on the show before, like we've already talked about a whole bunch of them, like Michael and Alan and a whole bunch of people like that. And let's see, I got a thing on here from Ryan O'Hara, who was on the show. He's making a amazing stamp for an upcoming project that we'll see.
Yes, so it's very cool.
You can see that picture. Actually, I'll probably use that as the cover picture.
Yeah, the cover, because it just looks awesome, doesn't it?
It's awesome. It's made out of magnesium.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, it's well, not pure magnesium. It's a magnesium alloy.
Right, of course.
Not pure magnesium.
Right, but it was etched. It was not machined. That was the main thing he figured out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I've never been involved in something like that.
Machining? I haven't in a while either.
Like a mold for something like that.
Oh. I think they just take it. I think that's the thing. I think they just use an SVG, like a graphics
What's
file.
What's an SVG?
It's like a scalar vector graphics file.
Okay, yeah.
Got it. And then they can just map it to. I think in that case, it's just laying down, kind of like in a photoresist type of way that you can do like a PCB, and it's like that because it's an acid etch. But if you were going to use an SVG in machining, you would just want to translate it to G code using a CAM program.
Yep. But didn't I see? I haven't got the photo in front of me. Didn't I see like sort of like sharp points, like wedges etched away, not just like straight walls, kind of thing? It's sort of etched.
Yeah.
Is that?
I don't know
the
how
way
all
it etches.
That happened,
Right. Yeah.
It's very cool.
But the whole idea is that it's a stamp, right?
Yes. For unknown purpose.
Right.
Yes.
But it's very cool.
So those are the kind of things we're looking for on the page. And the other problem is that we have, we usually get about 50 items now per week. So
it's a lot.
That is a lot. One thing we didn't mention here, Jerry's Kickstarter.
Yes, Jerry's Kickstarter. It's fantastic. She finally got around to it. Took her don't know how long she's been working on it, but it's a hell of a lot of work. And fantastic. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be as popular as what I thought it would be. It's sort of starting to taper out. I've been watching the stats, and You know,
yeah,
she met the funding target, but I think I posted a thing on the forum estimating, you know, I'd be saying that I'd be surprised if they didn't get 10,000 backers, which equated to, you know, $4 million or something. I don't know. At an average, $2.4 million, because the average back-in is about $240, right?
Yeah.
So you take the average backer and you multiply it by 10,000, you get 2.4 million. And I said I'd be surprised, but it doesn't look like it's going to reach that figure. So I sort of maybe I overestimated the gaming.
Pretty good. I mean, I don't know.
It's pretty darn good. Yeah, but I expected it to be much bigger. I think a lot of other people did too. Maybe we're overestimating the gaming nerds.
Yeah, well, I don't know much about the gaming community.
Neither do I. That's why I was just pulling numbers out of my ass. But yeah, I thought it would be massively oversubscribed. So it doesn't look to be massively oversubscribed. It looks like they might double their thing, which is awesome.
It's a tough thing to do because it's still still a dev platform, right? Anytime it's a dev platform, you have to have. I think there's an upper limit.
Yeah, that's the thing people forget. They don't. I think the gamers are more after.
Yeah.
Like a finished game, play and whereas this is sort of like more for people like us, sort of like the hardware hackery type geek,
and game developers
rather than the just the snotty nosed pimple faced gamers out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah. So we were talking about maybe having Jerry on this week. It didn't work out timing wise.
Yep.
So we said we'll have her on again towards the end of the campaign when she's actually starting to think about going off to China and talking about DFM type of stuff, which I think is...
She's hiring. She's hiring a DFM team, apparently.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned that to me.
Where will they ever find it? Where will they find the team, Dave? For Jerry's...
I don't know. There could be a podcast that could have a lot of listeners that might be able to help out there. Anyway, I think it's jobs@technicalillusions.com.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
So we'll have her on when they're starting to ramp that stuff up too to talk about it. And I wanted to talk
because that'll
about
be fascinating to follow. And she'll post videos and all sorts of updates, and that's sort of gold to watch that sort of stuff.
Right.
Because then you can see how a product's taken from concept through to ultimate production, and it's going to take her a year.
Oh yeah.
That's what she's allowed for, and and she's not dumb. she has allowed.
Right, she's done it before.
11, 12 months. Yeah.
You're right.
And
that's probably still pushing it, but. Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of like she's kind of making the paintbrush instead, and most people want the painting, right? That's kind of the idea here.
I think that's the very apt description.
And the thing, I'm actually excited about that more so because...
Oh, so am I, totally.
I wanted to get it outside. I was mentioning to her and a couple other people on Twitter, like, I don't care about games, like, but the other stuff that they talk about, like the CAD visualization and like that kind of stuff, like
and
immersive
the tracking and the
technical experiences, like for actual building other things, like that is really cool. I mean, and I remember her talking about that when she started at Valve too, was that it would be able to be used outside of just gaming.
Of course.
So yeah, that's personally what I'm excited about because I don't give a crap about games anymore.
Yeah,
I used to play games, but
no, it's
can't do it anymore. So I'm glad they hit their target already, though.
It's not
awesome. Surprised.
So it's got to happen. No, we're not. Nobody is surprised that it hit its target.
No,
it was a foregone conclusion, I think.
Yeah,
but so I'm just surprised that the game, because you see, like, it seems like every week there's a new video game on Kickstarter and it gets $10 million funding, and because this isn't that. It's a technology platform,
right?
Really. So it's different. So maybe the gamers are a bit confused. They go, "Am I getting a game? I'm not quite sure." I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's important too. With like test. I mean, I look at that too for like. So when I buy dev platforms and stuff, because I'm not always gifted dev platforms as much as I want them to be. A lot of times I look at them just as how close is the dev platforms built-ins, like the started projects to what I need, because you can actually get a pretty good jump. If you got something like like an Ethernet project or a Wi-Fi project, right, or a Bluetooth project on your dev kit already. And maybe you need...
there's half your development.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, even just, knowing where to start or having that skeleton outline, that can be so, so helpful. I mean, you can always optimize it and improve it, but having that as in a couple different levels, too, not just from the momentum of the project, but, like, man, how about showing it to your boss and be like, yeah, I'm, it might not be genuine, but, like, hey, we're making some progress here. That could be the difference between you... being allowed to continue versus, this boss saying, oh, well, you're not doing anything really because you're actually trying to figure out how the hell all the libraries compile and that kind of thing, right? So that it can make a big difference in your projects. So, yeah, dev platforms.
I think I'm with you, though. I think probably Cast AR's big future might be outside of gaming.
Yeah. Well, and same thing for, I keep seeing all these articles about Google Glass, too. I don't obviously use mine very often, but, they're talking about medical type stuff.
Nobody's worn off, huh?
A little bit, yeah. The shimmer is gone. But, it's still valuable as a platform, right? I mean, like, especially like medical, that kind of thing. Like, there are some
those
very
niche
legitimate
applications.
Industrial uses that I can think of,
Yep.
And, or like, how about a Segway, right? That's what it's already been compared to, a lot of the Google Glass stuff. Segways are stupid as a mode of transportation. However, they are useful for, certain, security type of applications and,
right,
odd terrain applications, right? It's like, it just becomes very niche.
The technology behind it is incredibly useful for lots of niche applications.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. Yep.
Well, no, even the product itself can be useful in certain applications. Just a matter of...
It can be, yeah.
It gets overblown, the whole hype cycle thing, it gets overblown at the beginning, and then it kind of finds its sweet spot, and then... But really...
Why am I picturing the movie Mall Cop?
Oh, God, did you watch that?
Doesn't he ride around the mall on the Segway?
I think so, yeah. I never saw it, I just saw previews for it. Yeah, exactly. Terrible.
Sorry, it just popped in there.
That's the movies they send to Australia, huh, Dave?
Right, yeah, that's the drinks we get. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So speaking of dev platform, I mean, I guess it's sort of a dev platform, but the new Adafruit, the Blue Fruit thing. Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen Blue Fruit. Tell me about it. It's a Bluetooth. Add Bluetooth to anything, is it?
Yeah, but it's interesting because I really like what they did. They made it into a module. But then they basically allowed single button triggering, and then so basically you pull down a pin, and then it'll, depending on which pin you pull down, it'll send back a bunch of different characters over Bluetooth, right? So
right.
Yeah, so that can be useful for, like, I think about like Google Glass or talking maybe to the Cast AR or a bunch of other Bluetooth devices. There really are just a few main things you want to map to it, and
yeah, exactly.
If you have
that's
defaults,
very useful.
It's great. Yeah. So, very cool product. It looks like they had to get FCC testing. I'm not sure if they did that all themselves or if they just rebranded some of the. I'm guessing there's a module underneath
surely
there.
They would have I can see it. Yeah, there's a module on there, but it's got their own label on it.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how labeling rules go.
Surely they just repackage someone else's module.
Does that work? I don't know. Are you allowed to like? Because look, they even have Blue Fruit in the FCC code.
Yeah.
Maybe they got their own testing. That's okay. That's no small task.
No, not at all.
So definitely a cool product though, and I'm sure we're going to see that a lot of people's projects coming up.
No, they're coupled with their own Bluetooth module hardware. Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. Someone's been busy. FCC and CE certified. Yep, they went to the trouble to get them certified. There you go.
That's good. Yeah. I was talking to a friend about Bluetooth. So he's like a researcher, and and I was kind of I haven't worked with it much. So I was kind of just doing the whole probing and making fun of him and not making fun of him, but just like just banter back and forth. I'm like, yeah, what the hell is this useful for, right? And he and he called me out on it. He's like, listen, the people I work with, they are going to use Apple products. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, Bluetooth low energy, basically, Bluetooth 4.0, you basically can abstract out Apple hardware at that point. And I'm like, whoa,
Right.
okay, that's actually really significant, right? I mean, if you,
Yep.
whereas before you had to go through that stupid, I don't know if you ever saw that chip you had to do for like identification if you wanted to become like
that's
official Apple
ridiculous.
hardware.
No,
But
what a wank.
basically Bluetooth allows you to go right past that and just kind of make something that can talk to it. And I mean, I know Bluetooth 4.0 is not like super high bandwidth, but even if it's just a serial link, that's a significant thing. And so
And the serial link doesn't
maybe
have to be
look
high
into it more.
speed. It can be 300 baud,
yeah, exactly. If you get the a couple words a minute, who cares?
Well, yeah, like you can send,
Kind of stuff we do, right?
real-time text you can read,
Yeah.
Those were the
that's
days.
true.
300 baud. See, you wouldn't remember that, you
No.
young whippersnapper, dialing up your modem, getting
Well, I
into a
had dial-up.
board at 300
Not 300. I started
300 baud.
at 96 or 9600.
Oh, 9600.
I know, right?
Youngster.
Super fancy.
Oh, boy. Yep. That was
Jeez.
great because you'd actually watch your data being downloaded byte by byte. It's-
Yeah, I'm sure that great's the right adjective there, Dave.
Boy. Let's not dwell on the past
Yeah.
because I certainly wouldn't want to go back there. But it's useful. Those, as I said, those low data rates are still useful for, you just want to transfer a button press or a few hundred, a few key presses or something. Bang,
Yeah,
that's all you need.
Well, we've
You
been
don't
talking
need
about
any more than
dev
that.
kits all show, right? I mean, like every dev kit is using like an FTDI chip, right? Where it's
Yeah,
it's
and just
it's
getting
not-
some serial data out for text prompting and stuff,
Exactly.
and text commands. And
Yeah, fastest you're going there is
Status display.
112 or something like that. Is that the upper limit, or 192 maybe?
119 or something is my
Yeah, right.
You know,
Yeah, so
a
nothing
typical
super
96 is
high rate.
Yeah, but even 300 it'd do the business.
Yeah,
Telling you,
yeah.
it's coming.
all right.
It's making a comeback. 300 board
Yeah,
standard. Yep.
retro.
I think I'm going to deliberately include 300
hipster
baud
bod.
serial interfaces in my.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I love it. Old school.
Any other things this week?
It's looking a
I
bit
like this
barren.
one just because it applies to you, but it's kind of a soft topic. So, why do people in Silicon Valley plan to do once they hit 35 and are officially over the hill? It was such a dumb
Right.
question.
Yeah, I know. It's just stupid.
He's like, "Hey, can you guys rip me a new one on Quora? Do you have time to do that? Especially all you people over 35 in Silicon Valley who happen to be on Quora."
Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah.
Yep, that's pathetic.
Well, and I think we talked about this 2 weeks ago, rather. Maybe that's why we brought it up 2 weeks ago. But like just the age of founders and stuff like that, and how in hardware you don't see that kind of thing. But even this shows in a lot of software projects too. It's the same thing. It's just you need experience. You gotta keep chugging along. You gotta keep finding new fields like AC induction motors and getting excited about them.
Right,
I'm telling you, man, I'm excited.
right. You think there's a lot of innovation there to happen, huh?
No, I don't give a shit about innovation. That's the thing. That's the thing. I don't care about. I mean, like, I've kind of given up on that. Not on like the innovation side of things, but because there's a lot of different levels of it. But I'm not going to be. I'm not going out and I'm not doing PhD level work on anything. I'm not even doing master's level work. I'm not doing research on anything. I'm doing development and integration of things. But I'm doing it for me, right? I mean, I'm especially these kind of projects. I just want to make things move, or I want to make things blink or talk, or like that's what electronics are these days. It's not like a lot of hobbyists or even pros. Like developers. You're not like innovating a whole bunch, right? Like,
I think the problem is you'll find is that you're crippled by your knowledge.
what do you mean?
As in, like a 10-year-old kid with no knowledge of, or some software person with no knowledge of hardware whatsoever will come along and
try anything.
do something 10 times cooler than you because you're too knowledgeable.
I have too much convention built in too. That's
too much convention built in and everything else, whereas the new generation that don't know much, they're happy to use their Arduinos and all their high-level stuff and all their,
Oh, I thought you meant like they'll just try anything and struggle with it until they figure out something that works, and it might be a non-conventional path, but it's still a lot of trial and error, right? Like the Edison method.
Right, yes. 1,000 different ways to make a light bulb, yeah.
Yeah.
Which works. There's nothing wrong with that.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, just
but
takes
in
a lot of
development,
time.
it doesn't, because you try, you get to 100 and you get fired. Dave, you haven't output anything in about 3 years, so see you later. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, the thing I was trying to get to is those people don't know the pitfalls. Whereas me, every time I look at something, I can think of 10 ways it's not going to work. Whereas people without the knowledge don't know that. So they just go headlong into it. So, I might subconsciously eliminate that as a way to do it because I can think of 10 ways it can fail. Whereas the person who doesn't know that,
right?
Well, they don't know that, right? So they go in and thinking, oh yeah, this will work, and they get lucky and it works, and bang, and
yeah, that was another mental shift I had to make too.
Doing the hard way.
Yeah, well, and another one is like, if you start out, especially when you're starting out in electronics, right? If you're saying like, oh, I don't want to do that, it's been done before. Right, it's like that doesn't. It doesn't matter if it's been done before. You haven't done it before. You have to go do it.
Exactly.
And you have to struggle with it because that's how you learn, right? I mean, like that's
right.
Yeah, that was a tough one for me. I had to figure out because, yeah, we're all just remixers,
Right. Oh boy.
Just like our show, we're just some repeat here, folks.
Regurgitate. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. One of these days we'll innovate.
Yeah. So send in more articles about which we just gave you guidelines on ways that you can give us the old stuff that we're looking for. So I basically just proved myself wrong from about 20 minutes ago. So send in whatever the hell you want to.
You can make a career out of rehashing old shit.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll still be doing this when we're 80. Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the Amy Book.
Yep. I'll still sound youthful then.
Hang on, I got to put my teeth back in. Oh, sorry about that.
Yep. All right. Well, we should. Next week we will have someone who actually probably is doing innovation, who sent Dave a whole box full of awesome stuff. We will have Vincent Himpy on next week.
Awesome.
Yes, I'm excited. So we'll have a post up if you want to ask him questions about manufacturing silicon and all the crazy stuff associated. If you've seen Dave's video, if you haven't seen it, go watch Dave's video about all the stuff that Vincent sent to Dave. Vincent also does a bunch of kits.
IC design. He does IC design and all sorts of things, silicon layout. Yeah, the whole works.
Yeah. Free Electron on Dave's on the EV blog forum as well.
Forum. Yep. Yeah. And he works for a big company who shall remain nameless.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll have lots of things to lob at him next week. He did promise us a 4-hour show, so.
Right.
Buckle up, folks. It's going to be a rough ride.
Shall we hold him to that?
Maybe. We'll find out. Tune in next week.
Bye.
Outro.
What was like an outro?
Tune in next week.
Right. Okay.
You need like the organ hit.
Yeah.
Will Dave and Chris come up with any questions to ask him? Will Vincent actually talk for 4 hours?
Find out next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Same bat channel. Yep.